Good morning and welcome to Tuesday's Thoughts from the Trails. And today I've been reflecting on a really significant moment, and I wanted to share it with you because there's a really big lesson in this and how we show up for others, with others in moments that are difficult. And we tend to not want to be there, but I wanted to share this because it impacted me so much and it still impacts me today, and how I can be present with somebody and not own their anger or own their frustration. And I can still journey with them in a very connected way to help them move forward. And I'm not sure why this came into my mind this morning, but it's Tuesday's Thoughts from the Trail. So I'm just going to share with you what's on my mind. And as you're watching, say hello. Make sure you say hi in the comments below if you're watching the replay. So currently it's 8:36 Mountain Standard Time, and it is Tuesday, October 5th, which is a stretch that I know that. So if you're not watching the live, just put hashtag replay and let me know your thoughts about this as well, and how this might help you move forward as a leader in someone's life, formal or no formal title. But I wanted to share the story. It goes back about 20 years. I was in nursing school. I joined late. I was in my 30s. And I was at a time in my life when I felt like I had no control, no power over anything. My husband and I had just married. We'd moved to another province. We had our child. I went back to school, yada, yada. Those are some of the context pieces. But there were some things going on in the background in our lives that I just couldn't influence, and that scared me. And I remember sitting in my nursing class one day, and our teacher was probably teaching us about maybe meditation, or the activity involved us putting our heads down, closing our eyes, and listening to her words. And that's all I can remember because I didn't do it. And I remember sitting in my desk with my hands crossed. And she probably asked me a question. And I said, "No, I don't believe in this. I think this is hokey." Looking back now, I'm like, oh my God. It's so embarrassing because that's not how I am. That's not who I am. But for whatever reason in that moment, I felt the need to be defiant. I felt the need to, what I know now was to control something in my life. And that was the moment I picked to exert my control, to feel like I could influence something. Now, I do remember apologizing to her. And what happened next is the significant piece in this. And this is what I want to share with you today because it was so empowering, and it was so validating that it's okay to not be okay and to not just go along with what people ask you to do. But in that defiance, as I sat there at my desk feeling annoyed that I was having to do something that I didn't want to do, I didn't request to do, that I didn't even have any belief in. Can you hear that crow? Ha! Live from the trail. After I apologized, she said to me, "No, no, no. You gave others permission to make a choice that fit them." And I looked around the class, and there was probably about 10 others, and we were a class of, I think, 70 to 90. I can't remember at that stage. It was a big class. And there was about 10 others who also had not put their head down and were sitting there just observing the activity. And I remember thinking, wow, how graceful was that? To let me feel okay to not be okay in that moment, to let me be other and not fit in, and to let me express a moment where I was feeling like I was struggling without actually saying, "I'm struggling right now. I need some support. I need some help, and I don't know how to ask for it. But in this moment, no, I'm not doing this. You can't make me, and I'm not going to do it." Now, obviously, looking back, I realize how horrible that, for me, I think that moment was horrible and very disrespectful. But she honored that space, and she gave me permission to be myself and to be seen for the struggles I was having. She did not have to know. She did not have to know what I was journeying through in that moment. And for me, it was like my whole world was crumbling and I couldn't seem to fix it. And I didn't know how to change things. But she didn't need to know any of that. She just held space for me. Now, I want to fast forward a couple weeks after that, because she's into Reiki and those more holistic things that are now a lot more mainstream. But then I had only never heard of them before. English is not my strong suit first thing in the morning. I had not heard of them before until that moment. And so I was really resistant. It was different. It was strange. It was unknown, unfamiliar, and it was uncomfortable. But a couple weeks after that, there was a student who was having an anxiety attack. And I happened to come across this person in the hallway, and I wanted to find her some resources. And the first teacher I saw was this teacher. And she didn't give a care what I thought about her 2 weeks ago. She immediately focused on that student and she started to run her hands through her energy, which I think is Reiki. And I watched and witnessed the change and the power that she had to calm that student down. And from that moment on, the two experiences together, I realized, wow, I'm very judgmental and I need to be a little bit more open to things. And now I share that experience with you because what she allowed me to feel seen, valued, honored is something that I think influenced me as a nurse and that I carry forward in my coaching. And when I can allow somebody else to feel seen and heard and honored for what they're bringing to me and not having to own it, right? She didn't have to own anything that I was throwing at her, although there was a lot of undertones that she didn't know about. Just that act allowed me to calm down, and it allowed me to realize, okay, this is not in alignment with who I want to be seen as. And I can do better. I don't have to bring this crap to her. She doesn't own any of it. I gave it all to her, but she allowed me to be seen. So if you're working with somebody, if you're in the office, if you're at home, if it's family, and somebody is acting in ways that are not aligned with who they would normally be, and you're like, whoa, where did this come from? My request to you is that you honor them and give them permission to not be okay. And I think in today's world, we need a lot of permission to not be okay because we're so inundated with social media and how everything is perfect and how everybody is successful and how everybody is rich and they have all the things that you want to have. But we don't see that they're not okay sometimes. And having a space where someone can just honor you and say, thank you. This is my tip. This is my hot tip. This is part of my thank you method. Thank you for feeling comfortable enough with me to share this today and honor you. I honor you and I see you and I'm here with you. No judgment. I know life can be hard. And this is what I do with my clients in my coaching program. They often ask me, how is it you don't get angry? Because they come with a lot of frustration and a lot of disappointment, having gone through or going through workplace trauma, toxic relationships, bullying, conflict that's just unresolving. And they're now starting to see changes in their relationships, both at work and at home, because we know where one is affected, the others are, right? And so back in my experience, my home life was what was challenging me, had nothing to do with the nurse who was teaching us, but it affected my relationship really quite significantly. But she held space for it. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So when my students ask me, how is it I don't take so much energy into me? I think that is one of my pivotal moments. And I've been reflecting on that today because I was recently asked that question. And I feel like that moment allowed me to see that I can be different. I don't have to be judgmental. I don't have to be angry. I don't have to own anybody else's issues, just like you when someone brings them to you. Or if you're experiencing it right now and you're pushing it outward because you don't know how to hold it and hold space for it and honor it, I want you to know I see you and I honor you. And it's okay to not be okay right now. It's also okay to say, I'm struggling and I need some help. And I think for those who are willing to take that next step and to recognize that this behavior I'm having right now, this reaction I'm having to my colleague, to my boss, it's way out of line with how I would normally respond in these situations, and start to be aware of those signs and symptoms that maybe the stress and the strain is getting too much and it's potential that you might be making some decisions in the future that will actually harm you instead of support you. So if you are struggling, just know I see you. Those are my thoughts from the trails today. And if you're looking for someone to support you through workplace conflict, tensions that are unresolving, you just want to get out from underneath that negative effects of it, and you want to reclaim your reputation. I certainly had to do a little bit of apologizing to get realigned with who I was back then. You want to put your career back on track and just want to get back to living a peaceful, productive life, just message me below. And we can talk about what it might look like to work with me and have a space where you can come and be vulnerable and work through these pieces so that you can get back to living your best life. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to continue on with my walk now. Put my glasses back on so I can see my walk. You can tell there's my age right there. Whoa, there you are. Okay. That's it. That's what I was thinking about today, and I wanted to share it with you. Think back to those pivotal moments in your life. hold space for the people who need to have space held for them, and just honor them and thank them for being safe enough to share that with you and let them start to explore what that means. Make it a great day, guys.